Okay, so today we're taking domain number two. We're taking domain number two, reading. Okay. Now, from what I see, that من أصعب skills انتوا كطلبة عندكم, right? This is one of the most difficult skills you as students have. Let me actually change the view. Put it here. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So this is one of the trickier skills for students عشان السكيل ده غير السكيلز التانيين اللي عندنا, right? The other skills بيسألوا عننا, well, what does it say? But today's skill is a bit different. Today, we're going to focus on function, and we're going to focus on purpose. Let me actually change that again. I'm sorry, guys. Today we're going to focus on function, and today we're going to focus on purpose, right? Function and purpose. So this skill غير التانيين عشان the other skills عايزين منكم. The other skills ببقى عايز, for example, احنا بيقول ايه? What does the information tell us, right? But this skill isn't what does it tell us? This skill instead, it's why does it say it, right? So I want you to notice there's a big difference there between what does it say and why does it say it. What does it say and why does it say it? I'm just waiting for my pen to load. I don't know where it is. Just waiting for it to load عشان أعرف أكتب وكده. But anyway, let's go into this. So purpose questions, right? Function and purpose questions. هما مختلفين سيكا بس نفس السكيل عامة, right? You have to read the right amount of context for each. You have to know the job of the underlying phrase, right? So على آخر الدرس ده هنفهم يعني إزاي نقول the job of a phrase, the job of a word, right? Or what is the sentence doing inside a text? We're going to also state what a whole text was written to do and eliminate distractors the College Board بيستخدموها, right? 2 questions, 1 skill. الfunction questions بيسألك على جزء, ask for a part. Purpose questions ask for a whole, okay? Both ask the same thing. Why is this here? Never what does it say. Step 1 always is what does it say. But step 2 مختلفة هنا. Why is it here? So they're folded into one lesson عشان نفس الskill. مش لازم يبقى ناخد درسين, right? So let's look at the different types الأول. This is a function-based question. So the function question is a zoom-in question. في جزء من the text is underlined, right? And your job is to name the job underlined piece does for the text. You have to know what the job does, right? So for example, humans aren't the only ones who use tools. Other animals also find tools helpful. Octopuses use 2 halves of a seashell to provide protection or a place to hide it. Okay. So في فرق بين what and why. What it says, octopus hide shells, right? But why does it say that? What does it do? Right? What does it do? It gives an example. So notice how الapproach بتاعتنا هي مختلفة عن ال other skills بتاعتنا, right? And purpose questions, again, غير الfunction. الfunction بيركز على جملة. الpurpose بيركز على كله, right? It's a zoom out type question. So nothing is underlined. Your job is to name what the entire text was written to accomplish. That's your job. Why is this whole text written? Right? So يدينا passage ويسألنا what is the purpose of the text. مش هنقرا دلوقتي طبعا ولا نعمل حاجة دي for now, right? So always do that. Now, the answer to a function or a purpose question is never a restatement. The answer is never a restatement. right? فلو الإجابة tells us what the text says, that's describing the غلط. The right answer needs to tell us or tell you what the writer's doing by saying it. So, is the writer in this sentence defining, illustrating, conceding, qualifying, correcting, proposing, elaborating, or setting a scene? That's the job there, right? So think of it this way. Cover the answer choices الأول and say in your own words. The writer put this here in order to blank, in order to persuade us, in order to give us an example, in order to give us a definition. Okay. Part two. So السؤال بيجي ازاي؟ السؤال بيجي ازاي؟ ونفس السؤال, by the way, right? Which describes the function of the underlined sentence, the function of the underlined sentence in the text as a whole, right? The function of the underlined portion, the function of the underlined portion in text as a whole. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, right? So لو مش بيقول لي in the text as a whole, the job is local. So لازم اقرا الجمله قبليها وبعديها. بس لو بيدخل بقى هنا, right? Which choice describes the function in the text as a whole? So that means an underlined portion that must connect with the overall argument. So look at the difference here. So in the function question, if it tells us text, مش بيقول text whole, بس مش بشوف الكونكشن في الجمله اللي قبليها وبعديها. ولكن لو بيقول لي text as a whole, انا عايز اشوف علاقه الاندرلاين portion بالmain idea. Okay? Main idea. And then you have purpose. Right? What is the main purpose of the text? ما فيش حاجه underline يديك الباسج كلها. احنا لازم نسال نفسنا الباسج ده كلها مكتوبه ليه؟ Right? التكست كلها مكتوبه ليه؟ So notice there's slight differences there. So ازاي بنلاقي the function? ازاي بنلاقي الfunction? Number one, what do you do? Read one before, one after. So يدينا underline portion زي هنا زي ده, صح؟ لو بيسألني what is the function of the underlined portion بشوف قبل وبعد. لو بيسألني in the text as a whole لازم أقرأ كلها أشوف المين idea بتاعت التكست. بعد كده أقول لنفسي well ده بيعمل كذا. Right? This does كذا. It supports the main idea. It goes against the main idea. So we read before and after, right? ليه؟ ده طبيعي. لازم نقرأ passage كلها. Function is a relationship. Function is a relationship. You can't see a relationship by reading one part. صح? The next step بنعملها, try to say the job in your own words, right? So you tell yourself, this is here to كذا. عادي, مش لازم يبقى حاجة wow. Use a plain verb, be very simple. Like, this is here to define. This is here to give an example. This is here to give a reason. This is here to give pushback, a detail, or propose. So knowing a prediction is the number one defense against wrong answers. So when I do it, when I have a prediction, ده هيساعدني في elimination ويساعدني مش يضحك عليا. Okay. Now, what we do after we do the prediction, we check the first 2 or 3 words of each choice. Every answer choice هيبدأ with it plus a verb. Read the verbs الأول. So يديك الverb and then هيديك main idea, for example. Eliminate according to the verb, right? So you can often eliminate 2 answers بسبب الverb لوحده. So مثلا لو قلت the example, eliminate أي حاجة مش مرتبطة بexample. And then you verify, you support the remaining answer. Okay, يعني إيه? Here's a real example, right? Where are the answer choices? Oops. I forgot to put the answer choices here, right? But anyway, عادي. In the early days of television, 1940s, many people thought the US television programs would rely on financial support of ad agencies and commercial sponsors, much like radio did. remember في بقى دروس تانية داخلين في بعض هنا دلوقتي. انسى اللي فات، ركز على الجديد. Advertisers hesitated to jump into a new space, particularly at a time when the manufacturing of new television sets was stalled due to the US's involvement in World War II. Broadcasters like NBC needed to persuade advertisers to support their programming despite not knowing whether there would be robust television audience to begin with. So again, we read the before space, right? And we read after. ده اللي بنعمله. So before بيقول لنا advertisers, they hesitated, right? And then after the underlying portion بيقول لنا broadcasters لازم يقنعوا advertisers عشان يشتروا ad space, right? So the underlying portion sits between these two things. It sits between hesitation and persuasion, right? Now, we look at the word. Now, look at this word particularly. ويعني ايه particularly؟ بيدينا ايه؟ Specific information, right? بيدينا سبب, right? So it narrows a general statement to one specific situation. فهنا ممكن نقول a specific reason why advertisers hesitated, right? عشان بيقول لي they hesitated particularly يعني ايه؟ Specifically, right? And then when I look for the answer choices, I look for an answer that shows me this is a reason why they hesitated. So this is the simple steps احنا بناخدها عشان نحل سؤال function, right? Let me look at some other examples here. Okay. Every job an underlying portion can do. Okay. So there are quite a few jobs here. أنا مش هقرا كل الexamples ليكم، بس هقرا بس الجوبز عامة. The function or the jobs، وطبعا في البيت هنقرا الexamples دول مع نفسنا عشان بس نوفر وقت. It can define a term. يدينا definition. Define inside parentheses. يدينا definition جوه parentheses. Give an example. Name an instance of an influence. Give a specific reason. Right? Due to, because, since. Explain how something was done, right? Explain how something was done. Generalize from two cases. Refer back to a difficulty. Comment on significance. These are the jobs. Identify a limitation. Challenge a stance. Propose a course of action. List what an organization does. Elaborate on the previous sentence. Supply a narrative detail. State a plain fact that anchors a scene. Convey a speaker's state in poetry, how a speaker feels. Show that an event exemplifies a pattern. Exemplifies يعني the example. Support the writer's judgment. Convey how a character handles feelings. These are 20 jobs or functions. طبعا في البيت, you guys will read them on your own. Now, let me see an example, right? This is purpose. Let's go to an actual example so I can show you what this looks like. Here it is, right? This is a real example, جاي من امتحانات. A real example game امتحانات. So do you see here, what is the function of the underlying portion in the text as a whole? So هنا لازم اعمل حسابي ايه علاقة ديت مع الباسج كلها. Okay. Now notice how every answer also ما اجي اقرا, I say, well, I try to make a prediction if you can. I try to predict if you can. And notice how every answer choice begins with a verb. It begins with a verb. Try this one on your own. It's a harder question. I should have given you something easier beside the yani. Send your answers in the chat, please. Try this function right here. Read the full passage. Okay? Read the full passage. Don't just read a portion. And then tell yourself, well, إيه ده اللي بيعمله? What does it do? أنت ممكن تكتبوا لي A, B, C, or D. Now لو أنتم عندكم إجابتين two answer choices لازم بقى أقرأ للsupport. I have to read for support, right? Take your time. Okay. Selma, let's begin with Lena. It describes the uncertain nature of a discovery by researchers mentioned earlier in the text. This relative scarcity. So, يعني إيه this relative scarcity يا Mrs. Lena?
يعني حاجة قليلة، حاجة فيها.
Okay. So هل في فرق ما بين حاجة قليلة وحاجة uncertain ولا نفس الحاجة؟
ايه؟
اللي إيه؟
مش فاهمة.
Is there a difference between scarcity and uncertainty, or are they the same thing?
لا، they're different.
They're the same thing. Okay, يعني
ازاي؟
uncertainty. أنا
uncertain
بسألك أنتِ.
يعني حد مش متأكد، حاجة يعني
Okay.
uncertain، حاجة مش مؤكدة.
Okay, so they're not the
وscarce.
same thing.
أيوه.
طيب جبتِ لي إجابة B إزاي بقى؟
أنا حسيت يعني
حسيتِ حبيبي، ما بنحسش. إحنا ما عندناش دم. When you go in, you're a machine. But let's go back. أنتِ بتقولي لي they're not the same thing. فليه أنتِ قلتِ لي إجابة B؟
مش عارفة.
Right؟
حسيت. ماشي.
إن نلغي كلمة ديّة خالص. Right؟ عشان
اه.
scarcity يعني حاجة قليلة مش موجودة. Right؟ إيه اللي مش موجودة؟ This relative scarcity. What is scarce؟
ال plant based items.
Okay. So these plant-based artifacts are perishable مش موجودين. Right؟
اه.
Okay. So it's not uncertain. It's certain هم عارفين they need this. But المشكلة بتاعتها مش موجودة أساسًا أو نادرة جدًا. Yes, Mrs. Selma?
بس أنا مش فاهمة يعني مسألة this type of question.
We
يعني
haven't
هي
even like
بتكون
practiced enough yet.
لأ يعني هي
إمم.
بتكون حضرتك قُلت بتكون function و purpose صح؟
آه. دلوقتي مركزين على الfunction.
هو هنا
So
بيسألني
function go ahead.
باقول له الpurpose بتاعة الfunction يعني؟
function وpurpose نفس الحاجة. الفرق بس ما بينهم function بيركز لِك على جملة أو على phrase إحنا بنzoom in. purpose بيسألِك على الpassage كلها. هو نفس الحاجة، نفس الskill. والskill واحد. ليه ده مكتوب؟ إيه
طب
هدفه؟ What
مثلًا
is the job؟
إيه الفرق ما بين أمّا يكتب لي text as a whole وأمّا ما يكتبليش كده؟
لو ما بيكتبش text as a whole في الfunction باشوف بس الجملة قبليها وبعديها. لو بيكتب لي text as a whole أنا باربطها بالmain idea.
يعني أنا مش فاهمة برضه.
It's okay. You have to practice حبيبتي. أنتِ عايزة تفهمي النظري، مش لازم نفهم النظري عشان نفهم
لا أنا مش
العملي.
فاهمة المسألة دي بتتكلم عن ايه، يعني أنا الانسرز دول بيكونوا بيديسكرايب ايه بالظبط؟
بتسكرايب ليه الكلام ده مكتوب. فلما تيجي تكتبي حاجة انت بتكتبي what، ايه هو انت تكتبيها، وبرضه في ليه، هدف الكلام ده. لما واحد بيكتب حاجة ما بيكتبش بدون هدف، في هدف. ممكن عايز يشرح لك حاجة، ممكن عايز I don't know يوصف لك حاجة، ممكن عايز يرفض لك. أما نيجي نكتب، الكتابة ديت فيها هدف. It has a function, it has a purpose. So your job is to figure out what is the purpose, for example, of these words. So these words, this relative scarcity, for example, right? It's underlined وبيسألنا ايه الفانكشن بتاع الكلام ده. وزي لينا قالت لي، هو بيقول لي في حاجة أو في أدلة أو في evidence مش موجودة. So it's not that it's uncertain، مش متأكدين بيها. It's that هي مش موجودة، نادرة جدا. So it's a challenging situation presented early in the text. What is the challenging situation? A plant-based evidence perishes. It goes away. مش موجودة دايما معانا. Be patient. Let's do another one. This is a harder example. I wish I gave you easier ones. Here's another real example. Now again, look, a big chunk here. What is the function of the underlined portion in text as a whole? ايه الفانكشن بتاع كل ده؟ So لازم اقرا الباسج كلها. And then maybe اقرا ده بس نفسي well ده بيعمل ايه? What does it do? What is the job of this underlined portion? Right? And then when I try to figure that out, أول حاجة أنا بعملها I focus on the verbs, right? It elaborates on the previous sentence. It provides information about travels. It recounts a moment in personal life. It presents evidence, right? Ask this first. So, any verb ينفع. ولو مش عارف elimination according to verb, then I read the full answer because it's verb plus idea, right? Verb plus idea. Let's just try this one. ابعتوا لي إجابات في الchat. Okay, so let's review this one together because I know Sama is a bit difficult on you right now. Let's review this one together, all right? On Painter Williams' return to the United States in 38 after a decade in Europe, his style underwent a transformation. جميل. صح? Look at the next sentence. Turning away from landscapes painted in an expressionist style, Johnson began painting portraits of Black Americans in a bold way. That's the transformation. And then look at the last sentence. Evocative of African sculpture and American Scandinavian folk art, these portraits feature flat, deliberately oversimplified figures in a vibrant but limited color palette. So it tells us how it changed a description of the art. Now, Nuran, you told me answer A. It elaborates on the previous sentence, agreed. I agree. I agree. About a transitional moment. Now, this is the problem. You have to ask yourself, Nuran, is this a moment? It's not a moment.
It's not a moment.
Yeah, so it's not elaborating about a moment in his career. This is general or overall. So answer A is too specific. Okay. Answer is B. It provides information about Johnson travels. Does it provide information about his travels? Well, yes, it does, right? So how does it provide information about his travels? Well, it supports a claim of his artistic influences, right? It supports a claim of his artistic influences. And his artistic influences was about his transformation, which is advanced in the following sentence. Is advanced here? Well, advanced معناها it's more detailed. In the following sentence, it is. Look at answer C. It recounts a moment in Johnson's personal life. No, it's not a moment in his life. It presents evidence, okay, that calls into question. Does it call into question the previous statement? No, it gives support. It doesn't call into question. It's answer B. تفضلي Mrs. Lena.
خلاص.
Cool? Let's try. Okay, this purpose. All right, we're going to flip now into purpose-based questions. Maybe we can do this last one here. Number 1. This one's easier. Okay, very good job, everyone. Let's go to the other skill now. Let's go to the other skill. And these are the jobs. Okay. Remember also, make sure you read this. Make sure you read this, please. And these are tables. هيساعدكم. Specifically this. هيساعدكم جدا. Okay. So purpose questions which بيدينا underline portion, right? A purpose question نفس الstep. Which choice states the main purpose of the text? So the correct answer has to be true of the text from its first word to the last. Okay, so بنعمل ايه؟ بنقرا طبعا التكست كلها من البداية للنهاية. Okay, لازم. These sentences always give us the purpose. Okay. Name the writer's verb. زي ما عملنا مع function. Tell yourself, is it describing? Is it explaining? Is it arguing? Is it comparing? Is it illustrating? And then check the coverage. Ask of your surviving choice, does it account for the whole text? ده مهم جدا, the whole text. So purpose هي basically شبه المين idea بس زائد خطوة زيادة. المين idea بيسألك what does it say? الpurpose هيسألك why was this said. Now, here's an example, right? Here's an example. And دايما برضو بتركزوا على first و last sentences. هو كده كله على بعضيها 3 or 4 sentences فمش حوار, right? Steep Lop in A, New York is the house where E lived for 25 years and wrote many of her poems. Now the house is a museum dedicated to Malay's life and writings. Visitors travel to the museum to feel more connected to an author they admire. To encourage this sense of connection, the museum's curators recommend nearby hiking trails and outdoor activities. Such activities help visitors appreciate the natural scenery inspired by Malay. So the first sentence tells me what where she lived and what she did. The last sentence tells me activities visitors ممكن يعملوها, right? So maybe we can say, what is the purpose? People get to know Malay at a deeper level. عشان بيروحوا المكان هي كان عايشة فيها وبيعملوا الactivities هي كانت بتعملها, right? Same thing with purpose answers. There are two types of answers هتشوفوها. Number one, two verb answers. So to describe, to explain, to portray, to argue, to present, to describe. This is one of the types of answers into هتشوفوها. And the other type is two-part structural answers. Okay? So basically هيقول لك well أول فكرة ثم تاني فكرة. Two-part structural, part one, part two. So what does this mean? Look at this. Thermal technologies have been used in the food industry for over 100 years, providing a way of preserving food in large batches. Recent advancements in ohmic heating were made through research in Chile on the preservation of strawberries. Ohmic heating is generally considered to be an improvement over more conventional thermal preservation methods. Whereas conventional methods transfer energy from the surface of food to its interior, ohmic heating passes electric current to food products to generate heat within the food itself. So the two parts, you'll see an answer like this, part one, part two. It introduces ohmic heating and identifies one of its advantages. So it's a two-part answer. These are harder. These ones are harder. The previous ones are easier. Okay, so let's see some real examples. The complete trap, these are trap answers. أنا مش هراجع معاهم عشان هم كتير وأنا عايز أدرب معاكم. Let's check out a purpose here. This one, look at this. Okay, now again, بنقرا text كلها. When we focus on purpose, we focus on sentence one and sentence, or the last sentence, the first and the last. هتقولوا لي well ممكن بس skip. لو انتوا مش عارفين تقروا كمان جملة زيادة أو جملتين زيادة, like بنتعلم ليه, right? Skipping will affect you. So don't skip around, please. You read the full text and then you ask yourself, well, ممكن تقولوا لنفسكم المين idea الأول, بعد كده تقولوا لنفسكم why this was written. Okay. We always must also support our answer, right? You must. Selma, why did you choose answer A? Because the new findings?
Uh, oh,
Okay. Where's the ongoing debate?
it's in the beginning.
Where?
Researchers have long hypothesized
Hypothesize. Okay. What's a debate?
different opinions.
Okay. So where's the different opinions among researchers? They long hypothesize. So الفكرة دي بقى لها فترة موجودة في المجال ده. So where's الاختلافات?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not there. You're confusing a hypothesis that was shown to be wrong as a debate.
D.
No. Well, we got it wrong originally. The answer is D, right? To describe an experiment, do we describe an experiment?
Hmm.
Then
Uh, using mechanical
the
support.
center. Yeah, this describes the experiment. Do the results cast doubt?
Yes.
Yeah, they do. Where?
This led to the anthropologist to conclude
On an established hypothesis, as a cast doubt, an established hypothesis.
الكسر الأول.
Yeah. You see how every part is supported?
Hmm.
All right, let's try another one. Here we go. Okay. Where's Omar? Where's Brumar? Yeah. To describe an activity the narrator finds amusing. So it's not as hard as you guys think. So some strategy tips, right? Tip one, decide part or whole before you read a single word. طبعا ده باين في السؤال. لو function عايز الpart. لو purpose بركز على الwhole. Finish the sentence. The writer put this in order too. Predictions do make a difference. Read the verbs for all choices before you begin. الverbs بيساعدنا نعمل elimination. Ask true of the underlined or true of the passage. ده مهم. So if it's function, الإجابة المفروض يبقى true for the underline. For purpose, it's true for the passage. When the underline runs long, strip the dashes and parentheses first. So لو الunderline portion جملة طويلة مش لازم نقرا الموجودة في parentheses والdashes. Check the direction, right? So make sure direction هيفرق معانا برضو لو في but or however. I know that's a challenge, okay? A three-word underline cannot do a four-part job. So match the size of the claim to the size of the underline, okay? 1 2-part questions verify everything. When we verify بشوف الإجابة ده موجود وده موجود وده موجود. Okay. Tip number 9. Let should, deserve, must, and a pivoting however tell you the purpose is to argue. In fiction and poetry, choose the flattest defensible answer. مشكلة في poetry احنا بندخل interpretation بتاعتنا وبنغلط. Okay. Never take content from the italicized introduction. ده الblurb في البداية. If English vocabulary is slowing you down, work on direction. So لو مش فاهم قوي ممكن أركز على direction يعني does it agree or disagree. And the text as a whole tells you where to look, not what to describe. Function question. If a choice would make a good title for the text, it is the wrong purpose. All right. So let's try another example here. ده عملناها. Let's try this function. Here's the purpose one. There you go. Let's try this one. And make sure you read the blurb. Although ممكن sometimes في information في blurb بيساعدنا by the way. مش شرط all the time, but sometimes. Dance, dance, dance. Like a turtle. Dance, dance, dance. طول النهار بتفرج على Elmo Sesame Street. Oh my god مش قادر. بعد الحصة خلصوا الاكتيفيتي اللي موجودة في الكلاس ورك لو سمحت. Adaptive لو سمحت. اوكي so بعد الحصة بعد ما نخلص الحصة ديت اعملوا الكلاس ورك البيربس على طول عشان السكيلز يبقى معانا. Do not wait. هما بس كام سؤال؟ 12 سؤال مش كتير. لو سمحت make sure you do them. Okay. Everybody told me intercede. Very good job, everyone, to meet a goal. Nice. Okay. So let's do some of these function ones. We did this one. Let's do this one right here. Okay, so it's not giving an anecdote, يا عمر. What is an anecdote, يا عمر? Do you know?
I don't know what is the meaning of anecdote.
It's a story, a personal story, a personal experience. It's not a personal experience, right? So this part is wrong. It's A. It explains the basis for the claim made by technologists mentioned in the text. The technologists say that be replaced by newer forms of media. And so Douglas بيقول الفكرة دي قديمة جدا, extending back to the first time readers scratch notes in text margins. So this shows us where this idea came from. All right, beautiful people. أنا عايزكم على طول دلوقتي تخلصوا الأكتيفيتي ده اللي موجود عندنا في ال private classroom عشان السكيلز يثبت عندنا. يا ريت تعملوها لو سمحت. يا ريت تعملوها لو سمحت. Do you guys have any questions before we go? انت عندكم الهومورك بتاعتكم. Please continue working the homework. Okay? Any questions before we go today? Thank you for coming. You can learn anything. Mr. Sim out. Bye.